Right, you're welcome back to Thursday's edition of Morning Ride, and this is a paper review segment. And we're going to be looking at some dailies, what has been trendy so far. We'll take the first paper, the Daily Times. Daily Times will be our first paper for review. Release Nnamdi Kanu for peace to reign in Southeast. Senators beg Tinubu. Say economy, social life in South suffered enough unrest due to continued incarceration of IPOB leader. And then Obasanjo denies discussing Kanu's release with Southeast governors. Another story there says, no going back on our strike, or your nurses and midwives. And that's what we'll take on the Daily Times.
All right, the Vanguard newspaper is next, and first on the headline here we have high cost of drugs persist as local production flops. This was talked about last week. And here again we have Uniben students block Benin-Lagos road over power outage. By the side we have lamentations, chaos as flood grants Lagos. These are many more you can find on the Vanguard newspaper, so please do grab yourself a copy.
The Punch newspaper is next. Businesses grounded, house collapse as flood overtakes Lagos. The writer says 7 rescued from collapsed building. Flood-induced traffic disrupts movements in Lagos and Ogun State. National Assembly scores FG low on budget implementation. And that's all on the Punch newspaper we'll be taking.
All right, the Daily Independence newspaper is next. And first here we have federal government unveils model to realize planned $1 trillion economy by 2030. At the top there we have Senate probes importation of poisonous diesel, says heads will roll. By the side here we have Southeast senators meet AGF, asks Tinubu to free Nnamdi Kanu. And these are many more you can get on the Daily Independent newspaper.
The Nation paper is our next. Custom impounds guns, drones, others at MMIA. And the items shipped from Turkey, one suspect held. Alright, the next story we'll take there is Dagora, federal lawmakers not earning jumbo pay. That's what we'll take on the Nation paper.
Alright, the Guardian is next. First here we have worries as e-waste import rises, more Nigerians resort to used items. At the bottom here we have minimum wage. NLC fumes at governors as governors moves to hijack negotiations. Okay, EFCC accuses public servants of diverting MDAs on spent allocations. These are many more you can get on the Guardian newspaper.
Alright, the New Telegraph is our next paper for review. Akpabio blames Goza suicide attacks on security intelligence failure. And the writer says, harps on preventive security. Senators stress use of modern war facilities. Return of suicide bombings worries Khan. Southeast NAS caucus begs Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu. And that's all we'll take on the New Telegraph.
The Daily Trust newspaper says LGBT Nigeria signs $150 billion Samoa deal. The writer to that story says clerics, CSOs furious. We have again, it's not about same-sex marriage, ministers' aid. National Assembly didn't consider agreement. Rep Yusuf. These and many more you can get on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, so that's all we'll be taking as far as the headlines are concerned. Let's quickly come back to the studio. And we have with us here our analyst, Mr. Boni Akeze. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning,
Welcome.
So let's take the story on the Daily Times. It says, release Nnamdi Kanu for peace to reign in Southeast. Senators beg Tinubu. I think so many persons are interested in the release of Nnamdi Kanu because during the week I saw some similar stories talking about the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and one says Nnamdi Kanu is ready to abide by whatever the condition that the federal government would give him. He's ready to abide by it. So what do you think about this prolonged case of Nnamdi Kanu and everyone coming together to ask for his release?
Well, like it is a saying that anything that drags becomes a drag itself. So I think Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2021, and we are now in 2024.
Yeah.
I think the period should be long enough, or in every standard looked at as strong enough for the government to have finalized the process of his trial and take final decision. In a democracy, yes, the rule of law, the process of law, it takes precedent, you know. So, but as it is now, perhaps the people talking are high-placed Nigerians. They've looked at the circumstances, the context of the case, and think that maybe out-of-court settlement or other non-judicial approach to it may yield a desired result. So the important thing is for there to be what we call for the process to come to an end.
Okay,
Our judicial system makes room for alternative dispute resolution. So it is something that could be worked out, and we'll move on.
Okay, just to go a little bit further, I saw a video yesterday where a few Eastern governors came together to plead for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and one of them, while speaking to newsmen, says that he believes that this issue somehow has been sabotaged by some persons, meaning that they are trying to make the situation worse than it ought to be. And then they also believe that the release of Nnamdi Kanu will actually restore this issue of no going out on Mondays.
Yeah,
yes. Do you believe? Yes.
And also the unrest that is in the southeast.
Yes.
They are attributing it to the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is
still in prison. Yes. Do you think so?
You see, that is why it is not always the best to allow issues to drag.
Right.
Because different dimensions will come into. You said I didn't watch that clip,
okay,
but as you are referencing a governor.
Yes.
A governor is a chief security officer of his state, and a lot of information in terms of intelligence and other are at his disposal that we ordinary people will not know. So, for him to allude to sabotage, it is a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, so that is why. In when situations happen like this, you see what they call the latent connections to it. So that is why when you have an issue, deal with it and dispose of it.
Yes.
You know, so that you will not give room for other people or elements to take advantage of it, and this issue of like this, the governor is referring to sabotage now. If this issue was taken as, you know,
serious as
giving speedy trial and disposal, whether Nnamdi is going to be found guilty, let the court pronounce. Whether he is not guilty, let the court pronounce and is disposed, and the nation moves forward.
Yes. Okay. On the Vanguard, this story here says Uniben students block Benin Lagos Road over power outage. So I would love to read that story briefly to you. So it says gridlock as Uniben students block Benin Lagos road over power outage. It was held for commuters in Ubowo axis of the Benin Lagos highway as for 7 hours students of the University of Benin barricaded the main gate axis of the road, which created a gridlock that stretched over 3 kilometers from both axes of the road, while those familiar with the terrain tried to navigate other routes to their destinations. Now they were protesting the continuous power outage in the 2 campuses of the university, which entered its 3rd month, and the cost of living. Now the 2 campuses, meaning Ekenwa campus and the Ubowo campus. Now, according to what was said, the light bill was said to have jumped from about 80 million naira to 280 million naira, forcing the university to sort to power generators and rationalizing power on the 2 campuses and hostels for about 3 hours a day. Let me pause it there. Now, imagine what it looks like rationalizing light for just 3 hours for students who in a school, for students who are preparing for examination, for children who pay their school fees, for children who will need to take their baths. Now my question is, how does the school wait for light bill to get to 80 million naira and then miraculously jump into 280 million naira? Where were they all this while?
And could it be under the band A? That's another thing.
Or could they be bandits?
Could it be under the band? No,
or under bandits?
A. No, under the band A, because the band A electric the tariff was increased. So if they're under band A, then that explains why the hike.
Very good. You see, number one, in my own opinion, there is no reason why the university should be placed
in darkness
on band A.
Band A.
Okay.
To start with. Secondly, and most overriding, it tells us all that we'll be saying about our university, our universities. You see, here on this program, the last time we spoke of it, that instead of proliferating universities, why not increase the capacity of the existing one, and they will serve the purpose. Okay, the Energy Commission of Nigeria is quartered in Uniben. Uniben is the center where from the headquarters of the Energy Commission of Nigeria. Uniben universities are meant for teaching and research.
Yes.
And the world, we are talking about energy transition. We are talking of alternative power generation. And an institution, a citadel of learning, like place like Uniben, where we have faculties.
Yes, we have
in these areas, cannot even. Uniben was established in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, Uniben was established in the 70s. Up to today, such an institution does not even have the capacity to run its own independent power plant, and they are still depending on the supply of power from the public power supply. And with what the discos are today, it is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. Okay, when we talk about total darkness, does it mean a university, a place like Uniben, does not even have solar power facilities to supplement the grid-based power supply? It is very, very funny.
So I'm really wondering. I'm really wondering how they've been doing it, because I personally, I was opportune to grow up on the campus, and while I grew up there, we had 24 hours lights uninterrupted. So I think somehow they were moving from generator to, but I don't know if they ever had solar, because how do you have light actually for 24 hours if there's no solar?
Or to give that huge building solar, it's really going to cost a lot.
True, it's going to cost a lot. That's true.
We're supposed to see a place like Uniben, through its the research centers, experimentation, having different facilities for power generation.
Okay.
The use of what do you call it now? Use of municipal solid waste to generate electricity.
Okay.
The use of solar. Options, because universities are places where researches are done, that you see industry, the link between industry and this and the ivory towers. You see patents, being created from the researches that turn out from the university. Our universities are just places of teaching, they are just places of teaching and churning out certificates.
Instead of a place
it
for
is
research
the
and
universities should have the capacity to at least have an independent power plant.
Independence.
So
yes, that is not supposed to be talking to.
Are you suggesting they have their own transformer? Because
it is not about transformer. The transformer relays what has been sent into it. So that you having a transformer is not a guarantee that you have power. The transmission, there must be a transmission to that transformer. So power must be generated somewhere.
Okay.
To be fed into the transformer and for the transformer to distribute it to end users. So the fundamental thing there is to generate
power.
If you, of course, university should have the capacity to do power audit and find out what is the capacity of power consumption as expected of the university in the immediate and even project into the future. When Obafemi Awolowo University was established at the University of Ife, in its master plan, Awolowo had plan for as far back as then, as the university to have its own independent power plant.
So what happens to the already accumulated bill? Because now that's the problem. If that bill is not clear,
that is a question for the university administration.
Is there no way the state government can even come in? The state government can come in to help.
Uniben is a federal government institution. Right. The federal government takes a greater chunk of the revenue accruing to the Nigerian Federation. Federal government should not pass burdens to states that are grappling with. If you hear the story about Accountant General of the Federation, that from the Federation, what they are ripping off, freezing the Federation account, those funds should be channeled to attend to the responsibilities that of the federal government.
Okay. All right. Let's see this story on Daily Times. It says no going back on our strike. Oyo nurses and midwives. This is another strike that is calling. Now, my question is, why is it that things have to result to the strike action before those in authority will look into the situation? Initially, we had the doctors going on strike because of their wages, their salaries, asking for an increase in their salaries. We have the NLC and the TUC over minimum wage. And now the nurses and the midwives are threatening that they're going to go on strike. And there is no going back. This country is beginning to be strike,
Everything strike.
You see, the funny thing is that, the baffling thing is that these unions, under the classification of trade unions, these trade unions that government has to deal with, have trade disputes with, they are business trade unions. Business trade unions in that they are different. They are different from social trade unions. Social trade unions may be talking about system change
Okay.
and revolutionary ideas, demands. But business trade unions seek benefits from the system. So that is, they are not querying or questioning the veracity of legitimacy of the system. They are saying within this system, which we are an integral part, give us what we think is due to us. So they go by collective bargaining. They negotiate. So, and no business trade union wakes up overnight and go on strike.
True.
They will put demands in place.
Yes.
They will agitate for the demand.
Yes.
It is when they think that all the entreaties have been ignored,
Yeah.
they will go to strike. Is always the last weapon.
Results.
So why should governments allow these issues to get to the point of the trade unions taking the very last resort? It is because there will be a demand will be made, and it will, and after every strike, all our strikes have still have been resolved on collective bargaining. Why not activate that mechanism of collective bargaining in good time, so that we don't have disruption of service delivery. It is in this country we see universities shut down for almost 1 year.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you still come back to the collective bargaining table.
Right. Okay, this story here says Senate probes importation of poisonous diesel, says heads will roll. Okay, so yes, I watched that personally yesterday, but I would love to read it out to you. It says the Senate on Wednesday, which was yesterday, constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate the continued importation of hazardous petroleum product and dumping of substandard diesel into the country, which is Nigeria. Now, the upper chamber also appointed the Senate leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, to lead 14 other senators to unravel the masterminds of the illicit practice and transaction and submit its report within 3 weeks. Now, I personally watched that plenary, yes, where one of the senators was saying they should ask for a refund of the money because this is obviously not good diesel.
Yes.
And you know what substandard things can do? It causes more harm than good. What do you have to say? Because it's still people who negotiated the bringing of the diesel into the country. So are you trying to say that they are not aware of what they are importing, or it's a means to divert funds?
Okay, you see, this is where you should talk about the issue of regulations.
Yes.
We have regulatory authorities. We have the Standards Organization of Nigeria and other agencies that deal with things that are pushed out into our society and to our end users. You know, so it is. So when people talk about that government has no business in business, government is this and government is that, the economic prosperity is earned by government handing off everything within the business. I would just laugh. How come? There is no way. The government is an enabler.
Yes.
Of everything. Government is an enabler. It is the role of the government to see. There is no country of the world that does not have criminal elements. That is why we have regulation. That is why the law is there. In fact, the knowledge of history has showed us that even the Europe and America, they are citadels of crime, you know, because of their orientation towards rugged individualism. So, and that is also why they know what their people are. That is why also they are very, very stringent about law enforcement.
Yes.
Because without it, society will collapse. So, and that is also what is happening to us in Nigeria. Our country seems to be a country that our state, when we say state, we mean the government.
Government, yeah.
We seem to have a state that is strong against the weak and weak against the strong. So, which is not in our best interest at all.
Yes.
It's not in our best interest. So we pray that the Senate will do and as they have vowed to
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at this. Customs intercept 1.6 billion naira military wears rifles from Turkey. And then I saw a clip of some well-made guns, double barrels, and bullets. You know, that it was just all around the net. How did and those things they have already been paid for? Where exactly is the loophole? Where is that actually coming from?
Well,
How can we have such?
It is when I think I read that news in this thing, and the way the customer said that they started tracing that container from its
Border?
no, from where it came from Turkey. So we should commend the customs for that, for being able to track down, because
and
some of these things
were paid on these goods.
Yes, you know, sometimes, you know, when you want to catch a thief as part of a sting operation, you may have to play along. You may have to play along with the thief to get the thief properly inside your net. So custom may, you know, pretend. They may have, maybe by credible intelligence, they will just go along, allow, so that the owner will come out. So if they didn't do that, maybe the owner would have escaped. So you allow somebody to take ownership, you know, pay, and at the point of saying you want to clear it, now this is how real security networks they operate. They make sure that before you are presented to the public as having committed a crime, indeed they would have finished the investigation and you know, make sure that you are properly, and it's been proven beyond reasonable doubt that you committed the crime, and that is when they will say that there's a prima facie case against you. So maybe that is what the custom did, allow them to pay the duties, feel that they have succeeded, and at the gates.
But this is actually huge, you know, 1.6 billion naira military wares. Who is the owner of these goods now? Who is he planning to give these things to? Because I know it's not for the military. Probably for those that are disguising on the road, because we know we have seen cases where bandits disguised with military wares on the road, you know, to kidnap people and the rest of them. Of course,
that is why you see all over the world. It's even a part of United Nations. There's an agency, a commission that is concerned with the issue of the proliferation of small and light weapons. So it is a global issue. It's a global something. That is why governments must be on their feet. You know, like I said, the criminality is in every country.
Yes.
Everywhere.
So
it depends. See, there's people have huge industrial complex for the manufacture of these weapons.
Yes.
So what do you think they will manufacture it and keep it in their warehouses? It is for the market.
Yes.
It is a business. They make profit from it. You know, so the world from the time of the First and the Second World War, there has been different treaties. There have been different evidence on disarmament, on the control of. We are talking about this. People are the nuclear weapons is a threat, and people are in the business. People are nations are using it as a mark of their power. And in fact, you are not a world power if you don't have nuclear arsenals. What are they for?
Okay. Senator Shomole also said he made an example. He said instead of people, our leaders buying cars and building universities, they should try to put the money into, buying of weapons. So yes, I agree with you as well. Let's move quickly to the next story on the Vanguard. Says lamentations cures as flood grounds Lagos. Now, of course, this is the raining season. I mean, so it's almost not inevitable for flooding not to happen, especially for those areas where we've been told before now that will be highly flooded. Now, in Lagos, it was confusion and lamentation galore in Lagos yesterday as activities in most parts of the state were paralyzed following early morning rains that left many neighborhoods heavily flooded, with motorists trapped along major roads, including the every busy Third Mainland Bridge. It was also a blame galore, with many pointing accusing fingers at the state government for failing to enforce environmental protection laws and prosecuting those caught dumping refuse in drainage channels, leading to their blockage and flooding whenever it rained. So I was opportune to speak with my mom this morning on this flooding issue, and I was telling her that in this issue of dumping waste, almost everybody are to blame, because you just drink water, you're not conscious of taking the water home, the nylon bag home to dispose properly. You just throw it on the floor, and then when the rain falls, it sweeps everything into the gutter, which now accumulates. So it's so, I don't know if to say it's so sad, because we're always blaming the government. What are we doing with our own self? It's on your table. What do you have to say?
Okay, good. I currently am involved in a study on integrated waste management.
Oh, beautiful.
We have it's a study, and we're using Delta State as a case study.
Okay.
And my role in that study is that most of the findings that are sent in, I am the one turning them into integrating them into the final report. So I had the opportunity of seeing what is happening in different places, and especially the comparison that was made between Nigeria and countries in Asia, especially in the Asia continent, which the study leads looked at as the countries that have the same context with Nigeria in terms of development, and you see, I think we have not given the issue of environmental protection enough attention, because we see it as a government thing. It's not just a government thing, it's everybody's thing. In fact, the role of government should be regulation. The role of government is regulation. Lagos as we know it is a chaos. True. Lagos as we know it is a jungle.
True.
If take a look, if you know the traditional Lagos, visualize where you call Ojota, Oshodi, and all those places. What kind of human habitation?
Some lawless individuals.
What kind of so it is not unexpected that Lagos will be experiencing this kind of, because it is a jungle.
But
You know,
even
so-
Lekki that is supposed to be an Ajabota
The
area.
flooding is
it's
crazy.
still-
That's what I'm saying. It is about our mentality. It's about our mentality. It's about our orientation towards our government. I have said this several. The development. When people talk about development, I've said there is difference between development and growth.
Yes.
There's difference between development and growth. The development is the people's capacity, you know, as expressed in their capabilities, in the way, including the way they manage their environment, their knowledge, their skills, you know, and how they relate to themselves, among themselves, and to their environment.
Okay.
You know, so you will see you can see a Nigerian driving in an SUV.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is barbaric. He is by every standard an uninformed person.
Uncouth.
He's an uninformed person.
Yes.
From inside that SUV, you could see plastics being thrown through the window.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you can see a Nigerian living in a big mansion because he had money to build mansion as a status symbol. He's still a brute. He's still like a man in the crude state of nature by his behavior, by his social disposition.
Okay, so I like the fact that you said that you're running a research and you're using Delta State as a case study. Now, particularly Asaba, I'll use Asaba from what I've seen. I'm not doing any research, but for what I've seen. In the mornings when you come out, you see persons who are sweeping the road meticulously. They are sweeping it so well that when you are passing, you are saying, wow, this place is really beautiful. But past that same road from 11-12, you will see different things on the roads. Now, you talked about regulating. Beautiful. But I think we should go in depth. What should be some form of punishment that should be given to offenders? For example, if you throw water out of your car, should there be someone who will chase you and make you sweep the state capital? I think if we have
to
few,
be task force that
yes,
be
right.
designated
You
to
have task force, different task forces all over the place. The issue is, are they committed? Is it a task force? You hold me here, I start begging. I give
you money, you let me go.
You let me go. Is that the type of task force? I met in my area. I met these PSP people. You know, they were having issues with a particular compound, and I stopped, and because of my interest in this study we say we are doing, I was able to have interaction with them. So what is the issue? I said, they were sealing up the compound. I said, well, I think this is not the way to go.
Okay.
That take these people to the sanitation court, so that it will not be your word against their word.
Yeah.
I said, I said, this is the problem. You don't have the time to go to sanitation court, so you are resorting to self-help. The mill of justice grants slowly, but it grants steadily.
Yes.
That is the way to go. Get the information about the number of the compound, the owner of the compound, or whatever. Go to sanitation court.
But you know the judiciary has a lot of accumulated cases.
No, there are special sanitation courts.
Yes, I know,
Different
but
from what
I know, but also we also know that the judiciary, they are quite slow with their judgment. So can we not enforce laws that will be sharp, if I should say it that way?
That you are talking about the extrajudicial approach. You are talking about perhaps even the self-help, get talks. Go to no. That is not what is acceptable in a democracy. That is, we must follow the rule of law. We must, what you're supposed to be saying, okay, can we say that we could increase the number of the sanitation courts. That means we have to recruit more magistrates. The magistrates are the ones. Then we have the manpower. There are our lawyers. There are legal people who are there who can do this work.
Okay.
Employ them. It could be. Maybe you could be. You talk about the pay, but it is. If you compare, and the final analysis, the consequences of not having these people dealt with, called to order. You know that there's nobody, because the health implication, the environmental and public health nuisance,
yes.
that is in the it is still cheaper to employ more magistrates, make the law enforcement effective, and you achieve a result. Because if we continue in this way, and I said judiciary, they have no, those are not excuses. Those are not excuses. We should, to me, the environment is key. It's our life.
Yes.
The environment.
Our health depends on it too.
Attending to the environment is like attending to education.
True.
And health matters.
That's right.
All right.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you so
Bonny
much, sir.
Akese. Because of time, we would have touched all their stories, but we need to let you go at this point. Thank you so much for helping us analyze the papers. Money
Thank
Ride continues in a bit. Stay with us.